Welcome everyone to the Toure Muhammad Show, and get prepared to hear about the greatest story ever told. Right about now, what I'm gonna do is tell you all the things that we're into. Okay, once upon a hurry, somewhere in the future, we didn't have to worry if somebody would shoot you. Excellence, yes y'all, we all that. Business, real estate, and actual facts. Actually, that's the tip of it. Financial gifts with it. Spiritual advancement, we're here to uplift. We're here to celebrate your success and give it back to everybody and their mama know where to shop at. You like that? I love that. We do too. You can change your condition when you change you. Yeah, so sit back, relax, and let your conscience be free. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Brother Toure.
Not only to me, but for man, greetings, brothers and sisters. Peace and assalamu alaikum. I am so excited, man, for the opportunity to talk to a brother that I admire, that I respect, that has been such an inspiration, not only to me, but for people across the world. He is a master, matter of fact, a grand master in the martial arts. And he is such an incredible example of someone who is an excellent student and an excellent teacher. He is a world-renowned martial artist, and he is doing that which is really, this is really epic movie type stuff, where he brings the martial arts world together once a year, unites the different communities under the banner of unity and love and training. We have our brother, Grandmaster Abdul Azziz Muhammad, here to discuss the upcoming National Training Conference. And we have one of his amazing students, brother Calvin Sandan Sensei Muhammad, or I should have said Sandan Sensei Calvin Muhammad, here to discuss this upcoming training, which you don't want to miss. So, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
So how are we doing today, sirs?
Oh man, I'm doing awesome, and it's such a pleasure to be on, to be in front of you, you know, and to be with my brother right next to me. It's a blessing and a privilege to, you know, be around you. You've done so much. There's so much around your name as well. You know, Bean Soup Times is, you know, it's not a little, it's not just sometime. I want some bean soup all the time.
All the time.
But no, I want to thank you for having us on this, and just for the sake of everyone knowing, you know, my name is Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, but I'm also known, or have been known, as Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. So if you're ever looking to get some information, more of the historical stuff, you would have to use Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. Just a little bit there.
Yes, sir. So please, let's start right there and tell us about your evolution and growth as a martial artist, and the evolution and growth of the name.
Oh man, thank you. Wow, that's two big pieces. But in terms of martial arts, man, I have to just bow and show great honor to my teachers. You know, my primary or first teacher of any high level is Dr. Moses Powell. Musa Muhammad, also known as Master Musa Muhammad, and he, you know, knew me as a child, you know, coming up 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, and being a student of Muhammad University in New York City under the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We were provided with trainers, because we didn't have, you know, a gym where you went out and played basketball. No, that was called sports and play. You know, man, I was looking for some basketball. No. The martial arts was introduced, and a student of Dr. Moses Powell came and he presented one of his students who was a brown belt, brother Leon, and that's where I was exposed to Sanukis. I can't ignore prior to that, for a very short period, also in Muhammad University, I learned some karate, and it was being taught by Brother Van, and that's where I got a yellow belt from. And prior to that, I normally haven't put it in, but I have to begin to acknowledge in my early years, you know, in my little 5s and 6 and all of that kind of stuff, my oldest brother, may Allah forever be pleased with him, he shared and showed me boxing, you know, and in that is martial arts as well. So that's, you know, the beginning of it. And I'll let you ask me some questions, because there's so much I could go in a line and then you would never get a chance to ask me anything. So.
Yes, sir. So this is beautiful. You know, I'm reading a book talking about what it takes to master a subject. And it's the theme of it is that, yes, you can have some innate talent and you can be inclined towards doing something well, but it's the dedication and the work and the time you put into focusing on excellence that creates mastery. And so as we talk about, of course, you know, the details of the conference as we go into the conversation, talk a little bit about what made you stick and continue on, because we know the road to Grandmaster was not an easy road. There was lots of bumps and bruises and flips and physical and mental, you know, stress that you had to go through. And what was it that kept you focused on the prize? Because we all want to be grand, we all want to be masters, but
yes,
we don't want to go through the work and the pain of it.
yeah, and that's what something that the minister said reminded me, or reminds me of what I'm thinking of, because, you know, based on your question, and the minister was talking about someone seeing, I guess they were students or wanted to be, saying that they wanted to learn like he, you know, be like he was doing. What do I need to do? And
right.
And in going over just a little bit, they find something else to have a conversation about, because they're not ready to go through what is needed to actually make it to that point. You know, many choose, when it comes to the title of Grandmaster, I never sought that. I just enjoyed my teacher. I enjoyed and loved them so much that whatever they were doing, whatever they were introducing, I wanted to be a part of it, you know. So it wasn't inspired because I wanted to become something in terms of a title. I just wanted to be with them. And because I chose, you know, to do it very very constantly, I enjoyed what they shared, no matter what the pain was. And I gotta say, in truth, it was painful. Now, the part in that, though, is that I didn't see it as painful then. You know, I was like that child, right? You know, so today I may have called the police. You know, because they would have made, you know, in today's world, that's called abuse. But it was love in that time.
Yes, sir.
And because I stuck through the love that they were giving me, I'm able to stand here today or sit here today with you. And it's only because of my commitment to what was being given to me by my teacher.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. And this mastery, you've been able to see it and excel in various areas of your life. And so, of course, let's talk a little bit about what you do for the Nation of Islam as national trainer, and kind of, I don't know if you want to, how much detail you can go into, but how you got the name, the transition from Anthony Muhammad to Abdul Azziz Muhammad, and what the name means. And then let's talk about the conference.
Man, boy, this is gonna be a two-part show. In terms of the first part, could you, the first part of the question was, could you share it again with me?
Yes, sir, absolutely. The work you do in helping to, get the community, the Nation of Islam fit and to be defenders of our lives.
Yes, sir. Well, first off, I'm tremendously grateful to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for blessing me with the post national trainer, and it was tremendous to get anything, to be asked to do anything by him and directly. That's an honor. It's an honor, and I have to also, bow to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because in everything I do now, I'll tell you the truth now, that I have martial arts teachers, but there is no greater teacher for me than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I gotta say that there is that when I look at what he has done in terms of just how he handles himself. First of all, let me just say that he is one who loves so much greater than any of us can hate.
Yes,
his
sir.
love is greater than any hate that anyone else can have. Okay, and I'm just again thankful to Allah to be a student under him, because his love that he has demonstrated is an example for me when I face so many different situations.
Yes, sir.
He's an example in all of the things. There's nothing, no matter what martial arts or any other way, anything else, his example is able to bridge any gap that I may perceive is a gap. I'm always able to pull from what he's doing in order to make a decision or just decide something. So anyway, let me just go to the minister asked, of course, of me to be the national trainer. I don't know. Well, I gotta say, because I don't remember exactly, but he always is humble even in his request, because remember, any question that he asks of you should be taken as an instruction to you.
Yes, sir.
But he is so gracious in everything that he does that he's never forcing anyone to do anything. He's always asking. But when you are under him, that question is really, man, you better take it like if he's asking you, that means you better get on it.
That's right.
And,
that's right.
And do what's needed.
Yes,
so,
sir.
So I can't leave our brother Mustafa Farrakhan, the Supreme Captain of the Nation of Islam, out, because he has been the one who has always assisted me in making whatever I needed to do, making it happen, helping me to be the support in it. So in that, there was a period of time I was out in New York, but of course I came into Chicago, and having the post of national trainer, it was not very established, if you will, in terms of the title. And, I just thought of what it is that I needed to do, because most of it doesn't come with a manual that says this is how it's done.
Right.
And so we just try to do our best. And if we keep looking at him, he's someone that if we look at him, we'll see what we need to do or how we need to do it, and just have his spirit in doing so. So I then said, okay, the first thing I want to do is start to provide training and lay out something. And I believe I put together some security tapes and just did some things. And the first year, or in that very second year, I officially put on the first training. We're saying national now, but it was more of a regional because I had access to the central to some degree. And we put on an event that was open to the nation, and there were others that came around, but it was very limited. I don't know how many, Brother Calvin, would you say we had in our first event?
So yes, sir, I do remember. Matter of fact, we have the picture, and I
That's
counted
right.
the picture that we took outside the Pioneer Building, and there were 19 people in that picture. There were a few more who joined us for the martial arts portion, so we might have had maybe 50-ish altogether on the mat, but it was a core of about 19 people.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And that was stemmed, you see, martial arts and security training. You see, so we tied those two pieces together. So if you were desirous of security training, you couldn't you could not stay away from the martial arts training.
That's right.
And if you were desirous of the martial arts, you had to be a part of the security training. So that's how we got started, and it built from there. And as I asked Brother Calvin, who can answer some questions about it, he was there from the very beginning, and maybe he could tell you how old he was when that was.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I think I was about 18 years old. I just became an officer, a lieutenant. And at that time, we knew it in Milwaukee as the officers training course when we came to Chicago for that training.
Man, beautiful. And so, Brother Calvin, I definitely tell the people how you got the title of Sandan and what it means. And then I do want to ask you about something that Brother Abdul Azziz has said, and I want to get your perspective on it.
Yes, sir. First of all, I will say this, my brother, just being on this show and listening to I really feel like I'm cheating a little bit, because being privy to this conversation, hearing Grandmaster talk, and then of course I'm a fan of your work as well. So I forget that I'm actually in an interview, and I'm just enamored at the conversation going on.
Yes, we got you. We're pulling you in now. We got you.
I do want to just express first, as a student of Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, and I got to share this with you. I remember being acquainted with him and with his teacher, one of his teachers, Dr. Moses Powell, and through a videotape called Sanukus 1.
Yes, sir.
And just so happened, it was an FOI class, and the captain, he had gotten a hold of the tape, and he said, this is class tonight. We got to watch this. And when I watched the tape, he was still in New York at the time, and I was training. but I had never seen training like that. I had never seen Black martial artists perform and execute the way that they did. And I was thinking, man, New York. I was in Milwaukee. And I was like, I wish they were closer. And so when I heard the news of him coming to Chicago, although it was 90 miles away, for me, that was close enough.
Close, yes.
I thought it was a specific prayer of mine that was answered. And so when we found out that he would be coming to Chicago, me and a few other brothers that were in the city of Milwaukee, we decided to come in and train. And I bring that up as a student because at that time, as is now, my primary desire was to learn what I saw and to strive to become proficient in what I saw. And having an instructor like Grandmaster Abdul Muhammad, which there's a conversation that goes on amongst the students that says not only is he teaching us to be martial artists, but we learn to be students through him because he's always been a student. We saw the way he was with his teacher. We see how he is with his spiritual walk. And through that, we strive to emulate what he has. So in answering your question, that road to Sandan, it started for me and it still is just striving to be the best student that I could possibly be. And whatever comes of that, man, I'm grateful. But in just striving to be the student along the years and learning what we have to learn. And more importantly, you mentioned mastery. As we watch our Grandmaster, he is constantly reinforced that there is no road to mastery without being a good student.
That's right. Man, that's beautiful. And that's why I mentioned that in the introduction. He's such an example of a student. And for those who have been blessed to see him and how he treated Dr. Moses Powell, how he treats Soke Little John, you see his reverence and his love for his teachers, and of course the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And he does provide us an example of how to be a good student. And so I've only heard this intellectually from him, but I want to get your perspective on this, Brother Calvin. Brother Azziz has said that he wants to get us to a black belt, first degree black belt, so he can begin to teach us.
Yes, sir.
You recall that, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as a yellow belt, I'm asking you, as a third degree black belt, what does that mean to you?
You know, first of all, I have to start with there's a principle in martial arts, and it revolves around having an empty mind, right?
Yes, sir.
And it is not that there is nothing going on up top, but it revolves around being an open vessel, being willing to receive uki. You know, as you always see the martial artists have a uki.
Yes.
And being open to receive, I think, is the critical step in every single step, because Grandmaster, I don't know if you recall, but there was some years ago, I just realized this is the 29th year for the national training, so it's almost 3 decades now. But there were some years ago where, and I wasn't the only one that you had mentioned this to, but we were having some trying to catch on to the technique that you had mentioned. And you had mentioned to us that we were thinking too much, right? Now, to the normal person, you're like, aren't you supposed to think? But you are supposed to think a lot, but when you are receiving, then that becomes a blocker to what it is that you're trying to take, because you're trying to learn something that you don't know. It's not in your database. And so whatever I'm thinking about is something foreign that's trying to be deposited within me. And so having to become an empty vessel or an empty mind, that's the first step to that. Now, as you become that empty vessel and empty mind, you have to always keep the teacher in front of you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what I say by teacher, I mean, if you are blessed to have a good instructor, we hit, for lack of a better term, a lot of it as far as an instructor is concerned with Grandmaster. But if you are blessed to have a good instructor, using the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as an example, then you know that you have to be a willing participant in your learning and your education. And there's a surah in the Holy Quran that says, say not that you believe, but just say that you have faith because, or just say that you submit because faith has not yet entered into your heart. And so I said it's important to have a good teacher because they see your potential before you see it. And I think that was the critical step. If you're being taken on as a student, there are things that are seen by your teacher that you don't even know about yourself yet. So you have to trust that process. And then submitting, becoming an empty vessel and trusting that process. I've learned that at any prolonging of me learning to allow me to go to another level was all done by me, right? So if I would have opened myself up and eliminated the resistance, whatever path I'm at now, it would have been achieved earlier. But that critical step in growing in the martial arts, it has to start with being that empty vessel and allowing somebody to pour into you. And when you see it, not putting your limitations on you like, oh, I can't do that. I'll never do that, because he wouldn't give it to you if he didn't think you could take it.
Beautiful.
Man, that's beautiful. And so when you got to first degree, was there a moment where you felt, okay, I'm here now? And then you realize, okay, I got so much now to learn. It's just getting started.
You put me on the spot in front of my teacher, bro.
It's a little pressure. Based on the pressure he probably put you through. This is light work.
I will say this. Every recognition of rank, starting with first degree that I received from Grandmaster, to onlookers, they were like, oh man, you got first degree. But for me, at that moment of exchange, I realized, oh, I got so much to learn, right? I never really felt like that I was there. So when it was like, when I got it, it was an intention of how much more I needed to learn.
Yes, sir.
Right? So I was never like, oh man, I got it. When I got it, I felt the responsibility now, like you really can't slack, because you're not just training now, but if he has trusted you with this rank, I now understand that I'm a reflection of him. So it's a constant audit of myself and what I have to learn and how more proficient I have to be. And I'm still striving to be that first degree and make sure I'm standing up to that.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. Beautiful. So let's talk a little bit about the conference now, and what should people expect. And of course, we're living in perilous times. We're living in times where we see more and more that people, because of a mental state, are not respecting life, and they're willing to take a life for property. Right. And of course, this is, no matter where you are, you can be in the urban setting, you can be in a rural setting, wherever it can happen anywhere. So let's talk about the importance of the conference and how valuable it is, Brother GM, for us to protect our sacred life.
That's a wonderful, wonderful question. It's filled also. I would say I need to start off with what you opened with, perilous times. In movies that we see, when good and evil is at war, the majority of the people that's on the earth in these various films are totally unaware of the battle that is being waged.
Mm-hmm.
There's always somebody, somebody that was shouting out, You know, the end of the day, end of days is coming. It's coming. You know, but people are passing them by. You know, because they're not looking for the end of days. They're looking for better days than wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't change the fact that there is a war that's going on for the people. So we have to realize what perilous means and what it means to us individually.
Sir.
We don't know. You know, you don't know. It's like, you know, many people around the country that are look at this and or just hear stuff about Chicago.
Yes, sir.
You know, they hear about Chicago and they hear about all of the killings and all that's going on, right? Even us here in Chicago or whatever city that there are killings going on, you don't necessarily see them yourself. So you don't actually operate like you are in perilous times or a city that you could find yourself, you know, getting caught out there.
Right.
You know, because it's always, when you see it on the news, it's somebody else, somewhere else, and you never believe that it's going to ever be you. See, what we are taught is that what is going on across the water will soon be here at your door.
Yes, sir.
Well, if that's the case, are we preparing? You know, there's you know, talk about, you know, severe weather, right? And a cyclone hitting an area somewhere else, and tornadoes somewhere else. But until it comes through your door, your neighborhood, do you then say, oh my God, like it's something new? Like we weren't told to, you know, get our food together.
Right.
So I wanted to just give a little of our focus to the possibility, you know, because you know what has been said. It says we'd rather we'd rather have and not need than to need and not have.
Yes, sir.
So that's
right.
training. That's training now. Now, you know, again, as long as we believe that it's not coming, then there will be no drive for us to get what we need to defend ourselves if it does come. And at that time, when it comes, you're not going to have the time to now go to train. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that because, you know, all of it, you know, helps you. So if you're moving in line in terms of your training, my training, you know, I want to do the things that's going to put me in a better position before I find myself needing the position to be in, you know. So it's about training, and I have to, you know, and I share with my students, like sharing with Sensei Calvin, you know, Sandan Calvin, sharing with him. See, he's someone who wanted it. See, those are the easiest persons to give something to if you want it. See, that's how I was.
Sir.
I wanted it. So even though I faced difficulty getting it, and the difficulty is just staying in it because you're faced with a feeling or feelings that will run you away if you're not desirous of it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he's someone who wanted it, and he was somewhere else. And in his being somewhere else, you know, the first thing is I say out of my mouth.
Yes, sir.
You know, I want to, you know, but in this particular sense, he's not the one who said out of his mouth what is not in his heart. See, so the next part is your heart get challenged. and now if you can fight through that part, you can then be, christened. Long as you gotta stay close though. That's all. Just stay close. And the closer your mind gets to your teacher, the more you get to be exposed to what your teacher has. Yes. So anyway, I'm just, I don't know. Am I where I'm supposed to be right now?
Always, brother. It's just like in training. Even if you start with one point, where you take us is where we need to be in that moment.
Yes, sir.
And where you gonna make sure that we go in that moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. By His grace and permission.
So give us some context about the conference, the dates,
yes,
what people can expect, and how, of course, they can make sure and register.
Man, absolutely. I'm going to just saying, Brother Calvin will work with me and as it relates to this, but it's so powerful, all of what is being done, as well as the title, the theme of the event. The writing is on the wall. So what does that mean to us? What does it mean? It means that and it's just like it's for martial arts, it's for all of our trainings. It does not matter. The writing is on the wall. If you don't know that you're going to be faced with difficulty on various levels, if you don't know, you will not prepare. But look at the writing on the wall. Look at what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is saying. Look at what has happened and does happen all the time. You hear on the news, so much is going on. When are we going to prepare ourselves? When are we going to believe that it's not just somebody else, it's going to be us too? Yes, so sir. The conference is about that. It is about being prepared in many different levels. There's training and trainers that are going to be coming in to share what they have. We're talking about top trainers, not just martial arts is what I'm not saying that. I said trainers. Teachers are coming and will be a part of this event, and we're looking for everyone to be on it. And there's much more. And I'm gonna let Brother Calvin share with us even more and some of the particular things that we can look for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The evolution of this training is mind-blowing.
Yes, sir.
For those who have been on this journey for as long as we have. And so from starting Friday, July 26th, going to Sunday, July 28th, Grandmaster mentioned the theme this year. The writing is on the wall: train to improve, empower, and survive. Now, just to kind of do away with a very common misconception, people think, you watch one of them old kung fu movies, you think you're going to record on Friday and you're going to be given all of these martial arts obstacles and, but in reality, about 30, maybe 40% of the training, depending upon your own level of training, will be on the mat. The majority of the training takes place in the classroom, in workshop type of setting. And so what we've developed, and one of the most incredible things about where we are now, we have the International Training Conference that we've broken out into different areas. So we have what the adults are going to do, and we have what the youth are going to do, and everybody leaves fed. So we're talking about security workshops. We talked about the handwriting is on the wall. And so the writing says that just the talk of the insecurity of places of worship, if you don't prepare to defend your place of worship, your house of worship, the writing on the wall says that it's already started, and it may be just a matter of time. As a matter of fact, the targets are those who are not prepared. And so we go through various stages of how to protect and defend the houses of worship. We have health and wellness. We have this beautiful book called How to Eat to Live. But as Grandmaster has mentioned, we talk about better ways, and not better ways than how to eat to live, but ways that we can improve on adhering to that beautiful book and different things that we could do concerning our own health and getting rid of the ailments. We also have the talking about farmland and how to produce on your own. All these are part of survival. We have various workshops that deals on with the battle of the mind, and we put together panel discussions on how we can overcome, because the first part of being a martial artist or any challenge is, what is our mentality? He mentioned you have to want it, then you have to overcome those challenges. So we don't just talk about challenges in the martial arts. We'll talk about the challenges of life and how they weigh you down and how they have an effect. And the same approach that you go through in training, you got to do that with all of your goals. We have, of course, he makes room for fun. And so we typically come together in a social environment where we have a banquet, where we celebrate the weekend. And we have all of these subject matter experts. If I could tell you, my brother, how many subject matter experts come in to give us not just a summary of their knowledge, but to give us a working class knowledge of how to protect, defend, and improve on our life. It's something that you absolutely cannot miss. So on that Friday, we're going to have workshops. On that Saturday morning, we start off early with workshops, and then we get on the mat as well as we do on Friday evening. And then we'll have some beautiful time amongst ourselves with a beautiful banquet. And then on Sunday, you get a chance to put everything to practice with the Scimitar Open, where we're going to have martial artists coming from all over the world competing and displaying their art. So you just don't want to miss it. July 26th through July 28th, and you can find out more about it through the www.vskjujitsu.com website.
Beautiful. And where will it be held?
Tinley Park, at the Tinley Park Convention Center, right in the Chicagoland area at the Tinley Park Convention Center.
Man, beautiful. And so, like it was mentioned, this is the 29th conference. And over the years, the talk about the conferences has been about, of course, the training, the camaraderie, the learning. When people leave from this one, Brother GM, if you can answer this one, what do you want them to walk away with? What's the most important thing that when they should walk away from the conference with?
Preparation and strength to feel like they have, that you have gotten what you need to strengthen you to believe that you are capable of overcoming the weaknesses, one in self, and so that we can be prepared to defend against an enemy that is strong.
Yes, sir.
Because that same one, even in yourself, see, because the enemy is in you too.
Yes, sir.
It's in us, I should say. I'm not excluded from that. That's why I constantly are preparing, strengthening myself, because I know that there is a weakness in me that I do not want to overcome me. So when those two get up on your shoulder and they're whispering, one is whispering the thing to do, and the other one is whispering why you shouldn't do it, that I have the strength in myself to listen to what is right.
Yes, sir.
And to do and be better. So you're going to be filled. This is nothing but information that you're going to get. You're going to also get to learn how to throw a little punch.
Yes, sir.
How to grab somebody and, put them under restraint.
Yes, sir.
So you get an opportunity to get all of that, and you can walk out of here feeling more confident than you walked in.
Yes, sir.
That's what I would like to see.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is there anything we didn't cover?
Man, do you want to? Are there any I don't know, stats or anything that we need to speak of at all, Brother
Yes,
Calvin?
sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you brought that up because this conference, I told you about how we started with about a 19 core group. And I'm gonna be honest, I was impressed when we got to it was about 50 some odd people. I was very, very impressed. I was like, oh, this thing it's taking off, right? but so what has happened over the course of that, this has become, number one, the largest conference of this time, particularly when it comes to our people.
Yes, sir.
But to pay homage to Grandmaster's teachers, this is also the largest conference in where Sanukis is being purveyed and being introduced to so many people, which is critical to have a Black martial artist and to have our system being displayed. So it displays so many different myths. I found, as I looked around, that more people are becoming familiar with Dr. Moses Powell. I follow the stats after the national training, and you see spikes in the analytics when it comes to Dr. Moses Powell, and people are becoming familiar with it. Not only is it big on that level, but there are no conference. Most of these conferences are geared. Matter of fact, I'm gonna say 97% of them, of conferences that have a structure like this, they are geared for quote unquote survivalists, militia persons, former martial artists in preparation for something, but it is really slim to none that you find this type of training being offered to our people. And I gotta say this, those conferences filter people out by the cost. The little pennies that you have to pay to come to the National Training Conference, I say it's almost free based on the type of knowledge that you're getting. So we're being a part of something that challenges the norms when it comes to teaching our people how to survive, our people how to navigate through this turbulent world. There's nothing else out there like it, and it's growing and growing and growing. And I often apprise Grandmaster that there are people, there's a large population on the continent of Africa that follows everything this man does. There are people in the UK and people in France that are tuning in, but we have them. We're just a short drive or a short flight away. And these people are continents over asking questions on how they can get access to the training that is provided there. So don't sleep on it. And it's a disclaimer. This conference is going to open a door that you can't close. Once you get what you get, it doesn't turn off when we do the closing prayer. You're going to thirst now for more and more. So there you go.
Man, that's beautiful. And this is absolutely, when we talk about in the Nation of Islam, especially making our communities a decent and safe place to live per the instruction of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is a paramount event that gives you some of the tools, some of the critical tools that you need to do just that. Even if it's from the standpoint of just feeling comfortable walking in your neighborhood.
Come on.
And being able to greet and talk to people. You know, there's a certain level of confidence you get and an ability to express love when you are not afraid of the people that are your neighbors.
That's right.
So, man, we appreciate you, brother Grandmaster, for your continued training, your continued sharing, and showing us. I can't speak from the sister side, but I know you do a lot of training with the sisters, but from the brother side, you give us manhood training as well as self-defense. So we are so appreciative of you and look forward to this conference being the best one yet.
Inshallah, that's right.
Inshallah.